Harpo is, as you may or may not know, more than just Oprah's name reversed. It's a huge studio that does, has produced a lot of material and continues to produce a lot of material. Anyway, without any further ado, I want to bring up Sally Lou Loveman. So let's give her a nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was making friends with Raphael, and I said I have talked to many, many people, and I normally speak to big, giant groups. So I have this new fear, speaking to small groups. So bear with me. I know it's kind of a crazy thing. No, I'm not scared at all. I love this. It's my passion. There is nothing better, in my opinion, than speaking to students. So I'm so thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be here at the Illinois Center of Broadcasting, and I will start by saying that I'm completely jealous of all of you. Like, I want to be sitting in your seats. I want to be a student here. I want to be a teacher here. I want to be doing what you're doing, which is getting your hands-on training in television. When I was your age, we didn't have schools like this. We had to make them up ourselves, and I call that internships. And this truly is the best internship you could ever have. I'll just start again by saying my name is Sally Lou. Thank you for saying the Lou Loveman, and I am the Director of Audience Services for Harpo Studios here in Chicago and former audience producer for the Oprah Winfrey Show. And since love is part of my name, loving my career comes easy to me. I fell in love with the profession in 1976. I know that's a long time ago, but here's what happened. I was 14 years old, and my mother took me to the Mike Douglas Show. And as I sat in the studio at the Mike Douglas Show at 14 years old, I spotted a girl on the set with a clipboard, and I didn't have any idea what she did, but I knew that I wanted to do it. I quickly learned that when an environment sucks you in and pleases all of your senses, to make a career out of it. And that's exactly what I did. I just had no idea that my career would lead me to Oprah Winfrey. When I went to college, I learned that in order to get closer to my dreams, my goal, I had to take some risks. So, risk one. It was my senior year in college, and I heard about this great internship at the PBS station, WTTW here in Chicago, called Irving Harris Internship in Production. I knew I was applying. Risk two. I had just applied to an internship in Chicago. Now I'm trying out for Roxy. Sadly, I did not land the role of Roxy, but I did get the production internship. And that's when it became clear that Chicago was going to be part of my story. Risk three, I enrolled in some improv classes in college when I got the bug of the acting thing, even though I didn't make the role. I kind of liked it, being on stage. And that was completely out of my comfort zone. I also did an internship at the PBS station there in local at my school and ran camera for the pledge drives. I had no idea that all of these small risks that I took in college would prepare me for a job and a stage and a city. And suddenly I figured that out. How many of you knew exactly what you wanted to be when you grew up, like little? Like, raise your hand. You knew.
After
okay.
high school.
After high school. That's still young. Okay. So it's an age-old question that grown-ups love asking, and half the time the grown-up asking you hasn't even figured out what they want to be, and they're grown. And it's okay if you don't know what you want to be when you grow up. And it's okay if it's evolving, and it's evolving right now as you sit here at your school and as I speak with you. It's fine, and things change, and you can reinvent all the time, which is great. I have to say that when you follow your passion and you set goals and you work hard and you know exactly what you want to be, it's great. It's wonderful. You're blessed, for sure. But sometimes it's simply just a matter of good timing. I moved to Chicago the same year Oprah did. What great timing was that? Oprah was hired to host the local AM Chicago show, and I was the intern at PBS. Well, I was hired full-time after my internship, and I stayed here in Chicago because I knew where it was. And I was working there, and 2 years after my internship, working there full-time, the Oprah show went national. So I immediately sent my resume and interviewed with Oprah and with the executive producer. And I really liked them, and they liked me. And I remember what I was wearing. It was like this navy suit with a tunic and big shoulder pads and a skirt and a belt. And I thought it was very cool and edgy. And I remember Oprah liking my suit, and I thought I had the job. And I don't know, I actually tried on this suit recently, like in the last couple of years, and my daughter said I look like a sister wife, but I would never give up my Oprah suit. And it ended up that I didn't get the job. I know, I was shocked, and I kind of blame the shoulder pads, but whatever. It was not meant to be. But 1 year later, in 1987, I got a phone call at work, and I got hired for that same job I had interviewed for a year ago. So for some reason in 1986, I was not supposed to work for Oprah. I was supposed to work for her in 1987. And in 1986, come on in. Hi, in 1986, I traveled the country in the red chair. I traveled the country for PBS, and I interviewed for a great documentary that we were working on. I interviewed Bob Hope, Dorothy Lamour, and Mickey Rooney, all in their homes in Hollywood. They're all Hollywood legends. They're great timing to look into them now. Google them, and you'll find the best Christmas movies ever, all with Bing Crosby. And that was what the documentary was about. So I'm grateful for that closed door, and I'm also grateful that it opened. For me, not getting the job the first time and getting a second chance was what probably led to my commitment and enthusiasm and love for Harpo Studios. So the door opened when it was my time. When you tune into what you love, what you're good at, and what wakes you up in the morning and gets you out of bed on these freezing cold temperatures to get to this school, the path will be clear because it's part of your destiny. I was always tuned into knowing that I love television. And then I found out I was pretty good at it. And that made me more passionate about it. And that's when you find that little part in your career that you like, you really go for it because you're tuned in and you want to get to it every day. For me, it was always about the studio and the audience. I love being in a studio, and I love the logistics of big studio shows, big remotes, mapping, seating people, being on stage, welcoming a crowd, talking to big audiences and small audiences, no matter what. I just like making people feel at home. I'm social, I like lists, I like puzzles, so for me, seating an audience was really like one big puzzle party. And I'm also terrible at math, so counting the number of bodies and the number of seats was like high math for me. I was always challenged. When you, but I loved it. So when you find your dream job and it becomes your reality, I want you all to remember this. You have to serve and protect it. I've been able to directly impact people's lives through the show and through the network OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network. I've had the privilege of knowing Oprah and hearing her words and wisdom firsthand. I've traveled the world and have been able to include my family and my friends.
Like Oprah.
No, that's not Oprah, that's me. Husband, I'm kidding. Family and friends in the excitement of my career. The phone rings in my office, and one of the producers is like, "Get down to the studio now. We have a huge change. It's like massive change." And I'm terrified. I'm like, what could be so wrong? So I grab my clipboard and I go running to the studio. I am extremely clumsy. I'm always running fast. So I'm running to the studio with my clipboard, my head kind of down, and boom, I bam into this body. And it was me, my clipboard, and a body. And I look up, and that body is John Travolta, exactly. And the point of this is, I probably have met John Travolta before or whatever. It was that moment of being in most celebrated television studio, the most celebrated television talk show in the studio with my clipboard and my make-believe boyfriend who had canceled on me in 1976. And in that moment, I mean, I was sobbing, crying. And he must have thought I was like some crazy fan. But I'm like, yeah, I still love him and all that. But like, it was that moment for me that made it all beautiful, because I have the chills. It was like it all came together in that moment. And I could have just quit and gone, like, worked at Starbucks the rest of my life, which I appreciate anybody who works there, because it is a hard job. But that I just wanted to share with you, because that always, you know, it's a reminder that something as small as a clipboard can just really take you through your career and just make you really happy. Full circle moments. And don't let anyone label you. Make sure you never, ever believe a label that someone has put on you. My nursery school teacher, and this is the truth, told my mother that I would never make a friend because I was so painfully shy, and I was. I wonder what she'd think of me now, knowing that I have entertained over 500,000 people from the Oprah stage. When people tell you don't do, commit to doing what you love. Prove to others, that it's your journey, not theirs. And don't let other people's labels define you. Let them inspire you.